all right. This is being done before I got to go to my physical therapy. Here's my gump report. I just did this earlier and I just screwed up and I pissed myself off. So let's make this clear. You know what this video is about. You see the title. I'm going to explain why I said it hurt AEW. Now, let's make this clear. I've seen Just Alex. I've seen JD. I saw at least one or two other videos, including one person's live stream talking about it. Even looked at some of the websites if there was any new information about when it comes to the footage and what they were doing AEW. And I thought about this, and I thought, I could release this Monday. And I thought, or at least film it by Monday because there'll be more information. But there's always going to be new information. Or worse yet, it will be just, no one's going to care about it. So I thought, might as well get it done now because we've already seen the aftermath. There's a lot of backlash to what had happened by releasing this footage. And if you haven't seen it, go watch it for yourself. I'm sure AEW, and I was thinking this in the last video I just did before I got pissed off, they're going to probably release it on YouTube. And if they're not, someone's going to take what they recorded, probably off of their own computer, chop that sucker up and throw it on YouTube and themselves, if they're not. Let me make this clear, guys. 100% clear. When you see the situation, it's not good. Okay? The closest it comes down to, because it's not a good situation, but what they're doing here is a work shoot. It is obviously a work shoot. It's not a lie. And Just Alex and pretty much JD thought before this was going to be done, this was going to be a troll. This was going to be some type of storyline. And then they found out this is real life. And then they got what they got. JD is mad because of the backlash he's getting, that people are against him. And then Just Alex is considering this to be pathetic. You can see even in his own video, in his own thumbnail, it's pathetic. His own thumbnail, I'm not lying about it, unless he changes it. His own thumbnail for the very video for AEW is pathetic. It says it in big, bold words. I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to put that in my video. I'm not going to put that in my title and description. Look, what AEW attempted, either Tony came up with this idea, the Bucks came up with this idea, it don't make a difference who. They thought, this is bad for us, this looks bad on us, but we got to do something. We got to make it somewhat positive for the company to try and play off of it. Let's just turn it into a storyline. That's what we got in the promo with the Bucks, the video footage, and then FTR afterwards on Dynamite last night talking about it. That's what we got. It's flat out what they decided to do. And if you remember last week, before this week, Adam Copeland came out to try and say we should not talk about the negative stuff, we should talk about positives. I do agree with JD, it does hurt the company that you just let Adam Copeland go out there, whether he said I want to do it or not, or Tony suggested it to him, or Adam suggested it, it negated it. It made Adam look not very good. I'm not going to say it makes him look pathetic or weak or a piece of shit like Just Alex or JD would. But I'm going to tell you, for his storyline, as the Con opens, since he is the TNT champion, it doesn't give him a lot going forward. It doesn't. Even though he is trying to say his feelings. But let's get to the meat of this. Did they screw up doing this? They tried to make the best out of it. Let's make it clear, no matter what. And I know Just Alex and JD and anyone else is going to say, what did CM Punk say wrong? He didn't say anything wrong. No one is saying that. We know there's been problems in AEW for the last 2 or 3 years. Easily. We know easily within the last 2.5 years, there's been problems in the company. We know this. No one is saying that. But they're trying to make it so easily clear that CM Punk is practically done. He's innocent by talking. But he's not. Let's make this clear. He didn't need to say anything. Now, I heard JD say, why is he getting bashed or me getting bashed just saying the truth? It's not about that. You should know how wrestling business works at this point. They rather still do kayfabe than anything else. No matter how the fans feel about it, the wrestlers still, to a certain extent, still care about kayfabe. They do. They don't want you to start saying some crap about this. And after the mid of this 2020 where we had Wrestlers Gate And a huge explosion where a lot of people who were probably innocent or guilty were ousted on Twitter. Now X. That's how people feel. And I'm not telling you they're wrong about it. I'm not saying that JD, Alex, Solomonster, or anyone else says they're wrong. That something should have been said. Yes, of course. Of course something could have been said. But at this point, where he could have easily said, and I've said this on the last video and the video before that when it came to CM Punk, he didn't need to go that far. Yes, Punk is Punk. Punk is going to say what the fuck he wants, and no one's going to stop him on that. No one's going to tell him on that. And I know that, but he could have limited as much as he could. He could say there was problems there, but he didn't have to be so damn specific, okay? I'm not telling you that Tony Khan did great when he was on an Anawani show, and he was asked those questions. He said, I don't want to talk about it. That is part of kayfabe. Now, I want to make this clear. 100%. I am not telling you AEW does not have problems. I'm not telling you that when it came to Tony, he is not doing great as a boss. That there's a culture inside AEW that has a major issue. No one is saying that it isn't. But what I'm saying is this. What does this really help? It doesn't. Right now, Punk is acting. And AEW, Tony and the other wrestlers there are reacting instead of acting. They didn't have to respond that way. But they wanted to try and find a way to take a bad situation where they already know the fans are having a problem with them, that they're not getting big ticket sales, they're probably not getting big merch sales, and pretty much the reputation of the company looks bad because of how well CM Punk, and more than that, WWE in 2019 was here. The start of AEW was here when, let's make it clear, Paul Levesque had to go away because of heart problems, and 100% Vince wanted to destroy NXT, the original version. He hated it because it was better than what he was producing in the main roster. We know this. AEW was like this. But what happened in the last 2 years? That's what happened. Vince got caught with allegations, had to go away for a couple of months, even though Triple H wasn't able to get everything he wanted done. And I'm not even a big Triple H fan, but I do know that he did change the product when he was allowed to. Once Vince came back, that's what happened. Once Vince left, that's where we are today. WWE is now on top again and is more popular than ever due to the fact that the new era, as they're talking about it, not Triple H, Ari Emanuel's TKO Group Holdings company, because remember, TKO WWE, TKO UFC, and Endeavor is under the same umbrella as TKO Group Holdings. That is the new era. We got a new owner named Ari Emanuel, not Triple H, Paul Levesque, or Stephanie McMahon, or a Shane McMahon. It is Ari Emanuel, who only cares about making money. And at this moment, the money's coming in good by making the fans happy. But where does that leave AEW? AEW's been having problems. They've been having problems trying to book the women. They've been having problems trying to book the men. They do not promote big men very well. They promote little men very, very heavily. And then they don't even write correctly for them. And then worse, the culture inside the locker room wasn't very good as it was. Look what happened with CM Punk. Look what happened with the Bucks. Look what happened with Kenny Omega. And the Hangman Page. Not even talking about Colt Cabana. Forget about Colt Cabana. He was the catalyst for what happened with those four. With the understanding of the EVPs. And I want to make this clear. I'm not bashing AEW. But it is obvious it's been hurt. And worse yet, they are reacting. And let's make this clear. And I know someone's going to say, you know how WWE's been bashing them? Look, they both decided, AEW and WWE, to bash each other, to mess with each other. And I do agree to a certain extent what JD said. He is not happy. This is Paul Levesque, how NXT was slaughtered by AEW, even though Vince was the one who was booking it like crap after he had to leave because of his heart problem. He's taking it out on them. This was not because AEW totally destroyed NXT Black and Gold. Vince did that himself. 100%. And JD doesn't want to take account of that. He said it mainly, Paul Levesque wants to destroy AEW because they destroyed Black and Gold. No, Vince did that. And even he said that. But he doesn't want to say Paul Levesque had to leave because of his heart. He was not happy that Vince, every turn he took before he had to leave because of his heart, that every talent that he had produced was being treated like dirt, torn down, brought back up, and then eventually got so disenfranchised they left the company. He didn't say that. I'm saying it. But instead of taking it on Vince, which he can't, he's taking it out on the ones who managed to beat what Vince had been producing, which was 2.0 NXT. So that is why Paul Levesque is acting the way he is. He can't take it out on Vince because, one, Vince is his stepfather. Or his father-in-law, not stepfather, his father-in-law. Why did I say stepfather? His father-in-law. Steph is still his daughter, so he's not going to take it out on him. So he's taking out on the company that brought it to light the weakness of WWE and of Vince. That's the way it looks. Whether you like it or not, that is the real truth. You can see Paul Levesque is taking it out on NXT. Not NXT. The reason I'm botching here is that it's very frustrating right now. I don't want to be making this video. I don't. What is the point? Look, we know AEW tried to make something out of a bad situation. They're doing a work shoot with it. That footage is a work shoot. They're trying to take the best they can and try to put this on the Bucks and FTR. That's what they're doing. That's what we got. That is obvious what they're doing. There's no other thing they can do. No matter what, the fans are upset with them because they're still not doing great TV. The women are not being done well. Then all the controversy in the locker room is still there. Tony is not 100% acting like a boss. He's still trying to be a friendly person with the wrestlers there, and you can't do it. So that's what they're doing. WWE, pretty much, let's make it clear. When it comes to Triple H, since he is the creative officer, is doing what he's been wanting to do for years. He's running the day-to-day operations of the show, not the company itself, but just the show the way he sees fit, and will still take, and is ordered to take input from The Rock, Nick Khan, and specifically over both of them, Ari Emanuel. Ari will tell him what he wants, or better yet, he will tell The Rock what he wants. Then The Rock will tell Nick what he wants, and then Nick will tell Triple H what he wants. That's it. And at this moment, we still, let's boil down to what we really got here, because this sounds like it's long-winded. I'm sure it is. I'm sorry. What do we got? WWE's on top, and at this moment, as long as everything is still profitable, Ari doesn't give a fuck what The Rock does, or Triple H, or Nick Khan does. As long as the money is still coming in and quantities that he likes, that our stocks and his dividends are going up, that the shareholders are happy, and the board of directors on top of that, he doesn't give a fuck. So they're here, they're fine. And Triple H decides, since he can't take anything out on Vince, because Vince is what caused this mess in the first place, not Nick Khan, not Triple H, not Tony Khan, it's Vince, he's taking out on them. Now, AEW. They had been on a decline for the last year and a half, easily, because they've been doing the same thing over and over again. They have not been creating stars. They went against their very mantra of making this pro wrestling, and they tried to be a little bit of WWE light. Let's make it clear, they tried it, and it failed. Nobody wanted to see a WWE light in an AEW. Worse, no booking for the women, not proper booking for the big men in there, where they're still being treated like dirt. Medium-sized men they treat all right, but big men don't. Small men, yes. Then the scrum happened. Then the attitudes happen. Then now this happens. And each time has been reactive. And the major problem they have at this point is not the wrestlers, but Tony himself reacting. Yes, he has gotten like Peppermint, who is part of creative there, and I do believe, what is the guy named Michael Morari or Morari or something. He's come in. He helped to change the look of AEW for the last couple of months. Right now, AEW must act, not react. That's what this is all about now. There must be action, not reaction. If you react to WWE, or let's say, let's do a scenario here. Let's say that, shockingly enough, Anthem brings in somebody more than the person they currently have as the president. And it's not Scott D'Amore, who really understands how to make wrestling really good. And they bring them in, and they don't restrict them. Understand? The rumors for not AEW, for TNA, is that they're going to be absorbed into the company of Anthem more, and they want to cut their budget more to be able to save money and make it a basic show that will interact with all the other shows on Access TV. That was the rumor. That's what I'm saying right now. Now, if they don't do that, they bring in someone from the wrestling business who's very well known and has a great understanding of writing and how to promote the people without worrying about the corporation Anthem interfering with that, and they become really popular and now go nose to nose with AEW. Think of what would happen. Think how Tony Khan would react if a TNA, who was way lower than them when they were Impact, when they reacted, worked with them, and really didn't promote them at all to try and make it mean something, now goes nose to nose with them. It would be a huge attitude. It would be a huge mess. And they would react. Not talking about WWE. They can't reach them at this point. WWE is here. This is AEW, WWE. This is TNA. Let's say they come here. They'll be facing them. And if Tony doesn't understand, he will react to everything TNA does. He will not act. And that's what they need. Action. To change the attitude of how it's going on in the locker room. Change the attitude of how he interacts with his own wrestlers. And to make sure they understand, hey, I still want to be your friends, but I'm your boss. This is how you go. This is what I want from you. That's it. If he can act like that, not react like a friend or react to any type of information they give him and he doesn't really understand it, this TNA, let's say they do straighten themselves out. AEW will change places with TNA. Hear my words. AEW could change places with TNA. The only other company that exists in the United States right now that is WWE, AEW, TNA. No MLW, no New Japan Pro Wrestling, I'm not trying to bash NWA or MLW. I know they're trying to do something. Even OVW have been trying to do something. I just found out that Mickie James has been working with OVW in their women's division. So other promotions are trying to do something with themselves. But if they don't learn to act in a certain way, and Tony act in a certain way, TNA, AEW, WWE, TNA could get their spot back where they once were before AEW ever existed. But this is just me. You guys can tell me below. I will be doing my TNA review. It should be coming out later tonight. I'm going to upload this immediately before I go to my physical therapy. Peace.